But first, the race for the White House, it's heating up as a super PAC supporting Florida Governor Ron DeSantis launches a national ad campaign directly attacking former President Trump. Welcome to a brand new hour of America's Newsroom. I'm Dana Perino.
I'm Bill Hemmer. Good morning. Morning to you. Hope you had a great weekend.
We're off to the races now.
Yes, that we are already. This new ad now is the latest sign that Governor DeSantis is getting ready to jump into the race in what could be a vicious fight for the Republican nomination. The new ad hitting Trump over entitlements and questioning his allegiance to fellow Republicans. Here's a look.
We're not going to mess with Social Security as Republicans.
What did Trump say?
Entitlements ever be on your plane?
At some point they will be. We will take a look at that.
Trump should fight Democrats, not lie about Governor DeSantis. What happened to Donald Trump?
Governor DeSantis is seen as Trump's main potential rival, though he has not yet formally confirmed his candidacy. And while surveys show Trump as the front runner, DeSantis has been polling above other Republican hopefuls, and he's been among those making appearances in the early primary states of Iowa and New Hampshire.
No more whining. No more complaining. Now we get to work.
If you wanted to create a blueprint on how to ruin America, you would do what President Biden and the radical left has been doing.
You know, after all, we're Americans, right? Isn't freedom in our DNA?
Oh, on the Democratic side now, President Biden yet to officially announce his re-election campaign. He was asked about it again at 2:30 in the morning over the weekend when he came home from Ireland. Does he need to? The New York Times writes this: closed-door meetings about when to roll out the president's campaign are intensifying. Still, with no serious primary challenge and Republicans infighting, he feels little pressure, end quote.
Republican New Hampshire Governor Sununu joining us, and you got on there so stealth as Bill was there doing that interview.
That's the way we roll in New Hampshire.
Dan Hoffman. You said this at an NRA conference on Friday. Let's listen to you on Friday. Call for number one.
Just to talk about the politics, I get nervous about 2024. If we don't have those independents, if we don't have those folks back on the team, those disenfranchised voters, it ain't going to happen for us. We can yell and scream all we want, but we want winners. We want winners for tomorrow.
I'd love to expand on that and tell us about the reception to that message there.
Oh, look, the reception has been phenomenal. I'm a big believer we've lost some independents. We've lost younger voters, disenfranchised young Republicans that should be very excited to be on our team are not right now. And that's what you need. And they didn't come back to the team in 2022. We're all very upset because, frankly, we lost pretty hard in 22, regardless of what people might tell you. We should have 54 Republican senators right now. We have 49. So that did not pan out. If we stick with the same message and the same game plan, we're going to have the same results. So we have got a great product here, right? We're Republicans. Limited government, local control, individual responsibility, you come first. Those are things that generation and those independents want to hear, but they're not things that we lead with all the time. So I'm just trying to get the candidates as a whole, the presidential messaging as a whole, to be, I think, where it needs to be to make sure that we win as a team, as a whole team.
Did you watch that hearing we held last hour here in New York? What you think?
A lot of drama. Yeah, I think there's look. But anytime I hear hearings, it's real.
It's real drama for people who've been affected by it.
There's no doubt about it. But when I go back to New Hampshire, people are trying to put gas. Inflation is real. It's not going away. Low-income families are still without choices, or we're dealing with homeless. We have the lowest poverty rate in the country. We're trying to make sure we have school choice for people, which we do. So I get the drama of what we see on the news all the time. I'm not discrediting that. But at the end of the day, what the average American is facing, they're not hearing about. Every family is dealing with some form of mental health crisis, whether it's their neighbors or their coworkers or their kids. Are we talking about that? Every family is scared to death about drugs and opioids and treatment and recovery systems. We should be leading on that. Those should be our issues. Republicans have an awesome opportunity to steal back the issues of homelessness, of mental health, because look at California. You can't blame a single Republican for that abject humanitarian disaster of San Francisco and Los Angeles. That's all left wing. And look at red states. Red states have typically the lowest poverty rates, right? The lowest, the most unemployment, the most economic success for those individuals. So why aren't we stealing those issues and talking about them that resonate with the voter in general? It's an interesting
point, but people in New York or Chicago or San Francisco may look at this and say, you're lucky to be from New Hampshire because you're not dealing with the same
problems. Well, that's why people are moving to red states.
Well, that's why they're moving to New Hampshire, exactly.
I do want to ask you about this because before we can get to any of the messaging, you have to get through New Hampshire, right, in a primary. And Governor DeSantis did go up there, and Paul Steinhauser, who is one of the political analysts up there, he wrote this on Twitter. He said DeSantis gets knocked for a lack of retail skills, but he's been working the room for 45 minutes now, greeting the audience over 500 and activists at the annual Amos Tuck dinner, and apparently got a pretty good reception up there in New Hampshire. How do you see him doing there?
I think it was the best retail politics we've really seen out of Ron DeSantis, and he did exactly what a lot of us were hoping he would do. He came off the stage, he shook hands, he looked people in the eye, he gave them the time. He's going to have to do that in 99 counties in Iowa. Candidates are going to have to do that in coffee shops and living rooms all over New Hampshire, and that's retail politics, because if you can do that, it shows you're listening. It shows you want to be part in that empathetic connection with the voters' issues. You're not just there to pontificate on what you want to say for the day. And when you do that as well, you realize the message might not be what you think it is. And you might have to pivot a little bit, but that's what leadership's about.
So the U.S. Supreme Court ruled last year that the states should decide the issue of abortion, and that's playing out in 50 different ways right now. Wall Street Journal, DeSantis' gamble on abortion. It writes, Mr. DeSantis could say the issue would be settled at the state level and that Florida's law should not dictate the Wisconsin or Pennsylvania. That works for us, writes the editorial page, but you can expect other candidates to challenge that as insufficient. He signed 6 weeks into law last week. How do you think this plays from this point forward?
For Republicans, not well. Look, remember the scene from It's a Wonderful Life? Every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings. Every time a Republican tries to talk about abortion, someone goes to the Democrat Party. I'm telling you, it's not about whether you're pro-life or pro-choice. It's about the terrible messaging. We talk ourselves around.
But what about Governor Kemp in Georgia, he signed a similar bill, and he's been doing great in terms of his approval rating in Georgia?
Because it's a state issue. When we talk about it as a national issue on national bans and what the president is going to do, the benefit the presidential candidates have is, look, it's a state issue. Send it to the states. Let the states decide. The voters and those governors and those legislatures will have the accountability there. But when we start saying, well, we're going to renationalize something, that scares the heck out of voters in a lot of swing states. In a very secular pro-choice state, we're a red state, but we're a pro-choice state like New Hampshire. It scares us. Or folks in Ohio, or folks you're trying to get in Arizona, and a lot of these folks back. So I'm not taking the issue on where you need to be on it, but understand that as a party, we're terrible about the messaging and branding, and
we've been talking about it. It's complex and complicated and thorny. And
well, we spoke a few weeks ago. You said July seems to be the time when people like you make up your mind. Still sticking to that?
Yeah, I think it's still April, so I think we've got a little time. Look, there's a lot of energy, a lot of folks like that local retail politics that we do, retail management, that style, and there's so much to play here. We haven't even had a single debate. We haven't seen anyone try to take, and it's okay to take swipes. It's okay to kind of push each other, because hopefully as a party, as candidates as a whole, we get better. And I think the debates will have a lot of opportunity there, but that won't even start till September, October.
Wow.
It'd be August for us.
Yeah.
The first Republican debate.
Oh, yeah, the end of August. I guess right in Milwaukee, the end of August.
Sounds like you're in.
No, look, I'm in on the party. I'm in on making this party bigger. I want winners. I'm tired of aren't we all tired of losing? I am tired of losers. I'm tired of this party backing losers. I want winners in the next generation, that more optimistic, more influential voice. That's what we all want.
I get the sense that we'll see you on the stage in Milwaukee.
Well, I'd bring the ratings, that's for sure.
Oh, well, that'll.
Thanks for being here.
You bet. Thank you.
Great to have you. Thanks.
Back anytime.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.